From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at Noon, streaming now.
And right now at noon, police departments across the state are on the lookout for a man wanted for murder in Terre Haute. Take a look at your screen. 29-year-old Philip Adderson is accused of murdering 38-year-old Sarah Henderson. Her body was found in a storage unit in Terre Haute on Christmas Day. Investigators say that Adderson may be driving a silver Chevrolet Cobalt or Dodge Caliber with damage to parts of the car. If you see him or if you know where Adderson might be, please call police. Indiana's 50th Safe Haven Baby Box is now in operation out in Danville. The latest Safe Haven Baby Box is at the Danville Fire Station 192, located on Twin Bridges Road, that's near US 36. The box allows a mother to anonymously surrender her newborn, and then it alerts officials to care for the baby immediately. This is the first baby box installed in Hendricks County. To date, 10 infants have been placed in these boxes and surrendered under Indiana's Safe Haven law.
I really don't think it's a matter of if this box gets used. I think it's a matter of when, and it's going to be a glorious day when that baby shows up here.
Well, there are 55 Safe Haven baby boxes across the country, and as we mentioned, Indiana has 50 of those right here. New at noon, TSA officials say the agency screened nearly 1.3 million people at airports nationwide on Sunday. That's the highest number since the pandemic began. It's also the 6th day out of the last 10 that more than 1 million people have passed through TSA checkpoints. The TSA says if you're traveling this week, please wear a mask. And let's get a check of our forecast this week. It's kind of the holiday week between Christmas and the New Year. A lot of people are probably off work and at home, and Todd Clausen is joining us from his home to talk about what we can expect. Todd, are we going to be able to get outside at all this week?
You know, you'll definitely be able to get outside today, Lauren. You're just going to have to bundle up. We're not expecting any precipitation, but we are expecting very chilly temperatures. In fact, we hit our highs already today. They occurred shortly after midnight when we were in the 40s and 50s. And as we go forward throughout the day, what you see is kind of what you get here. 30s across the area, 33 Bloomington, 31 Indy, 30 is the current temperature in Peru. And the winds, not as much of an issue as they had been. It had been very gusty earlier this morning, but the wind's still enough to factor in wind chill values that are in the 20s. And here's the view. And again, there's not much of a view out there as you look off out to the west. The clouds are firmly in place, and these clouds are going to be with us pretty solid throughout the course of the afternoon hours, and even a few flurries possible in some northern locations. But eventually, once the sun starts to set later on this evening, these clouds should start to thin out just a little bit for some sunshine, but they really start to clear out after sunset. That's when we go from mostly cloudy to partly cloudy, as you see. As soon as that happens, temperatures fall into the 20s. Tomorrow morning, it's the coldest start that we have the entire week. We'll talk about that in more detail and about a storm system heading our way right before the new year, coming up in just a few more minutes. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thank you. Well, we are getting an updated look at how the coronavirus pandemic is impacting the Hoosier State. At this noon hour, the State Health Department reports nearly 2,500 new cases of the virus. Since March, nearly 500,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for COVID-19. State health officials also report 43 more Hoosiers have died with COVID-19, and since the pandemic began, more than 7,500 Hoosiers have died with the virus. Today, CVS Health will begin administering the coronavirus vaccine right here in the state of Indiana. The vaccines will be distributed at more than 1,000 nursing homes and assisted living facilities across the state. Health officials say the plan gives 140,000 Hoosiers the opportunity to be vaccinated. Last week, CVS Health started administering coronavirus vaccines in 12 states. Across the country, CVS Health plans on having 9,000 people distributing those vaccines. And the House will vote in just a few hours on increasing the amount of stimulus coming to your bank account. The bill will be up for a vote. It sends $2,000 stimulus checks to Americans. That's instead of the $600 included in the stimulus and government funding package that President Trump signed on Sunday night. The bill being voted on this afternoon was contingent on President Trump signing the original bill. The vote is scheduled to happen at 3 o'clock this afternoon. If passed this afternoon, that new bill will need to clear the GOP-controlled Senate. Investigators continue to comb through the debris of that Christmas Day bombing rocking downtown Nashville. ABC's Andrea Fujii reports this afternoon that investigators are now shifting their focus as to why that bomb was set off in the first place.
Today, investigators are calling the Christmas Day blast that destroyed parts of downtown Nashville a suicide bombing. Authorities reviewing new traffic camera footage showing the moment of the explosion. Shortly after 1 a.m. Christmas morning, this RV was seen parked outside the AT&T building. Law enforcement trying to determine if it may have been the intended target. Investigators say 63-year-old Anthony Warner was the only casualty and are now looking into his psychiatric and medical history for clues to a motive.
He was present when the bomb went off and that he perished in the bombing.
A recording playing from the RV warning residents they had 15 minutes to evacuate. And today, the 6 officers who got people out of their homes hailed as heroes.
She said, "Okay, let me get my kids." And that kind of just like put my heart up in my throat.
The Rasmussen family made it out just in time.
As we're driving away, this massive explosion.
More than 40 buildings were damaged in the explosion. 1 collapsed.
It felt like I only took 3 steps, and then the music stopped, and as I'm walking back toward topping now, I just see orange, and then I hear a loud boom.
Following the blast, agents seen carrying out bags of evidence from a home associated with Warner. Multiple law enforcement sources telling ABC News investigators are seriously exploring whether Warner may have been motivated, at least in part, by a paranoia over 5G cellular technology.
Court records show the home now being searched was owned by Warner, but the deed was recently transferred to a woman in California. Investigators say they're now looking into whether there was any possible connection. Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
One IU student died after being hit by gunfire while on a dream trip to the Big Apple earlier this year. Still ahead here at noon, the big plans Ethan Williams' friends and family have to remember him. Plus, the employment of an Ohio officer accused of killing an unarmed black man is on the line this afternoon. Straight ahead, why the city's mayor is calling for Adam Coy to be fired. Todd.
And Lauren, it's pretty quiet across central Indiana at this noon hour. Just lots of clouds around, but no precipitation. However, the weather pattern is going to turn very active to end 2020 and going into 2021 as well. That storm system, at least the first one, gathering strength near Denver. We'll break it all down for you coming up in your WRTV Storm Team forecast.
ABC's General Hospital.
Welcome back. An effort is underway this midday to remember IU student Ethan Williams. The student from Indianapolis was shot and killed by a stray bullet while visiting New York City back in October. Now, while Ethan will have a lasting legacy among those he met, his friends want more of a physical way to remember him. Ethan loved skateboarding, and that gave his friends an idea.
He died. A group of skaters from the community came to me. This was not my idea. They came to me and they said, there's a skate park that's supposed to be built here in the city. We want it named after Ethan. From Bloomington, from IU, from Chicago, from everywhere. Like, he knew kids everywhere. And the stories were very similar. Hey, Mr. Williams, you don't know me, but one time Ethan said this to me, or one time Ethan did this for me.
Well, to learn more about the campaign to name this skate park here in Indianapolis in honor of Ethan, you can just visit this story on the WRTV News app. Hearings surrounding the employment of a Columbus officer in Ohio will start this afternoon. Officer Adam Coy shot and killed Andre Hill last Tuesday while responding to a non-emergency call. City officials say a weapon was not found at the scene and Hill had permission to be on the property. Columbus Police Chief Thomas Quinlan has filed 2 departmental charges against Coy alleging critical misconduct. This afternoon, Columbus Mayor Andrew Ginther says that Coy should be fired for not turning on his body camera and not rendering aid.
None of the officers initially at the scene provide medical assistance to Mr. Hill. No compression on the wounds to stop the bleeding. No attempts at CPR. Not even a hand on the shoulder and an encouraging word that medics were en route. It is an officer's duty to not only summon a medic, but to render aid.
Well, the city's director of public safety says by law, Coy is a public employee and is entitled to due process. Winter weather is impacting outdoor dining for restaurants all across central Indiana. Just ahead here at noon, we'll show you how one local business is getting creative to battle the cold. Plus, grab the coats. Temps will struggle to reach freezing here on your Monday, but Todd's talking a midweek warm up when the news at noon continues right here on WRTV. Stick around. Welcome back. This midday, Caesars Entertainment says it reached an agreement to sell off one of its Indiana casinos. Caesars Southern Indiana in Elizabeth will be sold to North Carolina-based Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians. The Indiana Gaming Commission ordered Caesars to sell off the Southern Indiana Casino and two others when the company merged with El Dorado Resorts. Last year, the Harrison County Gaming Facility retired its riverboat and moved to a land-based facility. In addition to the Elizabeth Casino, Caesars was also required to sell off facilities in both Evansville and Hammond. Well, if you're looking for a financial boost to start the new year, the Mega Millions and Powerball jackpots may help to provide just that. Both of the jackpots are sitting at more than $360 million right now. Mega Millions draws tomorrow with Powerball drawing on Wednesday. Lottery experts say make sure if you do play, do so responsibly. And we are just 3 days away from the calendar changing to 2021. And this afternoon, Indigo has a reminder for all riders planning to celebrate the new year. All fixed routes and open-door services will run as scheduled on New Year's Eve. The services will be free starting at 8 o'clock on Thursday evening. On Friday, Indigo services will include the Red Line will operate on a Sunday schedule. And colder weather here in central Indiana is impacting some of our local businesses that rely on outdoor seating throughout this pandemic. Up in McCordsville, the team at family-owned Daniel's Vineyard is continuing to come up with unique ways to get their wine and food in the hands of their customers. They've created a quarantine kit that includes wine, chocolate, and toilet paper. It's delivered by their newly created character, Grape Kelly. Also, for the first time, they have a pop-up shop at the Fashion Mall here in Indianapolis at Keystone at the Crossing.
It's bring us like a lot of exposure because a lot of people coming in, they're like, we've never heard of Daniel's before, or we have, but we've never been there. And so it's kind of a cool way to get our name out there as well.
I mean, we have a full kitchen. So the opportunity again presented itself to, hey, how can we still, even though, the cold weather is here and the second surge is hit, how can we still continue to approach the community? So we created Daniel's at your doorstep. And with that, our chef and his team create pizzas, salads, sandwiches, breadsticks, you name it. And you can actually go online and order those items, and we can again bring them to your front door.
Well, the final days for the pop-up shop are Wednesday and Thursday of this week. If you want to support the Vineyard, the quarantine kits and Daniel's at your doorstep delivery is available for Marion, Hamilton, and Hancock counties. All right, let's get a check of that forecast right now with Todd. We know that outdoor dining is kind of going to be minimal here as we get into the really cold months in the Hoosier State. Todd, but what can we expect as we start a brand new work week?
The temperatures this week are going to be up and down. We'll go from possibly the teens in some locations tomorrow, Lauren. By Wednesday, many locations are back up into the 50s, but a lot of times when you get those big temperature jumps, you're also talking about some storm systems, and that's what we'll have in our area as well. Outside right now, it is just cloudy. You may see a stray flurry in northern locations, but that is just about it. As far as the clouds are in place, they're not going to budge here much at all throughout the next couple hours. And look at these temperatures with the clouds around and also a northwesterly wind. We're only sitting right around freezing. 31 in Bloomington, just a degree above freezing. In Muncie at 33 degrees. In Indianapolis, a degree below freezing at 31. Even Tipton and Crawfordsville and Richmond in the 20s at this hour. So it's a very, very chilly afternoon, and you factor in just a little bit of a wind, and it feels like 19 right now in Terre Haute. 20 is what it feels like in Indianapolis, and 24 is the current real field temperature as you make your way into the Columbus area. High temperatures today are only really going to go up a degree or two from where we are right now with mostly cloudy skies. But with those winds, it's going to feel like it's in the 20s for most people, so that's why you really, really need to bundle up. There's a few flurries in northern Indiana that you see there on radar, but otherwise it's just cloudy. We'll expand out, and there's going to be two big storm systems making their way across the country over the course of the next couple days. The first one right now is here in the Denver area, and this is going to eventually start to go towards Minneapolis, and the low is going to pass to our north, which is key because that's going to put us on the warm side of things, at least least for this first system. And this evening, as the clouds start to fade away once the sun sets, which is around 5:30 this time of year, the clouds, as they break apart, will allow the temperatures to quickly drop into the 20s. And then look where we end up tomorrow morning. We're in the teens and 20s across the area. These are actual temperatures. Doesn't even factor in the wind chill values, which will likely be down in the lower teens for most of us. So it's a very, very cold start to our day on Tuesday, but we do have some sunshine to start the day. And as that sunshine is around, we'll be able to warm the temperatures up into the 30s fairly quickly, but then the clouds will gather. It becomes breezy as well throughout the day tomorrow ahead of that approaching storm system. There could be a little bit of a light rain snow mixture here Tuesday night in northern locations. Minimal accumulation or issues with that because the temperatures should climb overnight into Wednesday, and then much of Wednesday morning's commute should be dry, but the rest of Wednesday is going to feature quite a bit of rain moving through. It should be steady for the most part, and on the backside of it there'll be a little bit of cold air that'll be in place that could change the rain showers over to some snow showers as we go into New Year's Eve on Thursday. Then a second storm system arrives on New Year's Day. That one, depending on when it arrives, will have the potential for some freezing rain and then eventually going over to all rain. But there could be some slick areas and something we'll have to keep an eye on as we head into New Year's Day as that temperature gets down to right around freezing in the city. But it's the outlying areas where temperatures will likely fall below freezing that will potentially become an issue. So something to stay tuned to as we ring in the new year. But today, again, just cloudy skies out there, and you'll just have to bundle up a little bit with temperatures basically, Lauren, staying where they are right now through the remainder of the day.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. So as the holidays come to a close, it will soon be time to recycle your real Christmas trees. And there are designated recycling spots at 8 Indianapolis parks, and they'll be open through January 31st. The trees should be left at the specially designated areas at those drop-off locations. And remember, all ornaments, lights, and tinsel need to be taken off the tree before you leave them at these sites. The trees have to be real, so no fake ones here. You can also find more on how to recycle your tree in this story. Just go to the WRTV News app. This noon hour, Vice President Mike Pence's political future is up in the air. On January 6th, the vice president will have to preside over the Electoral College vote. It's something that Joe Biden and Al Gore did after their parties lost the White House. Political analysts tell us, our partners at Newsy rather, that if the VP decides to run for a higher office in 2024, he needs to start talking to Americans sooner rather than later.
Advice to Vice President Pence, and my advice to, I think, every Republican who thinks their name is going to be on a ballot sometime in the next 2 to 4 years, would be to make a concerted, intentional effort to start talking to hardworking Americans every day who find themselves literally locked out of the workforce.
Political analysts at Purdue Fort Wayne say that Pence's resume would give him an edge over any political rivals if he does decide to run. The vice president has not hinted to what his future may hold, but it's something we're going to be watching closely in the weeks ahead. Stay tuned. We'll be right back here with more on News at Noon. Stick around.
37 in Fishers.
Welcome back. Wonder Woman 1984 just landed in theaters and home streaming. But this midday, Warner Brothers says it's already working on the third installment of the DC Comics. The studio says Gal Gadot will return as a superhero. The company hopes to release the movie in traditional theater. No word yet on when that will be exactly. Meanwhile, fans of the superhero will be able to see Gadot in Justice League next year. And like so many things during the pandemic, New Year's Eve Times Square celebration is going virtual. Through a free app, you can watch the celebration through 9 different cameras. Pretty cool. The celebration, as you know, isn't open to the public because of the pandemic, but there will be some VIP guests there, some first responders, frontline and essential workers, and their families will get to watch the ball drop in person. So a little virtual look there. I know, Todd, you've been there in person, so that's pretty exciting for anyone who hasn't been.
Yep. One time and one time only, Lauren. It's a long, long wait there in the cold for that ball to drop. All right. Cloudy with steady temperatures here this afternoon in the low 30s. Bundle up. Tomorrow, very cold start, and then 36 in the afternoon, still dry. A wet day on Wednesday. Some snow showers possible Thursday morning, and then the potential for some rain and freezing rain, Lauren, on New Year's Day.
Todd, thank you. And thank you for joining us and making WRTV your choice for news. Have a great Monday.